Hello everyone, welcome to the manga review channel. If you enjoy the content, please give me a like, a comment, and don't forget to follow the channel to watch the latest episodes as soon as possible. I hope you have a great time watching. From the previous episode, Zheng Fan was probably surprised and respectfully greeted the old drunk Xian Tian sect had captured. Then he even warned that this old man had found an untouchable cultivation, impossible to see through, which scared everyone out of their wits. The old drunkard also revealed his cards. He chuckled softly yet did not reveal any aura. Due to some goodwill towards Zheng Fan, he advised agonist to leave immediately. This is not something you can control. And it really was like that. When the old drunk left, foggy mist surrounded at this moment. So Quin Tan was lighting an oil lamp to make the room bright. Then she spoke and asked, "So what should we do now?" Probably Fam Dam Max spoke up. The saying goes, know yourself and know your enemy, and you will win every battle. For now, we should first think about how to resolve this. We need to understand everything clearly before making any further plans. Right now, I am not sure about the strange situation here. First, let's learn and figure everything out before making any decisions. Then we can decide. Fam then led everyone back in and locked the door tight. However, fog was closing in. Barrier also started to deteriorate. In the dark hall, everyone sat in a circle. We not Hoa recount. Half a month ago, we were on our way to Long Hoi River when we passed through this small town and stopped, and then encountered a red-haired young man in a small tavern. His gaze was very sinister. It seemed like someone from the demonic path. Yang Sha spoke up. Indeed, the strange happenings here were caused by those sorcerers. Shui Rihua continued. The young man saw us approach and immediately narrowed his eyes, then stood up and started joking. Our young master, seeing this, immediately shouted out loudly. He immediately provoked him. The other person said nothing more and just left like that. We thought he was scared, but never in a million years did we think that by the next morning we suddenly discovered that everyone in the village disappeared in the blink of an eye. The elders were shocked, urging us to hurry and set off. But the young master, Fam must have asked. He must have known he was gone, right? We not Hoa nodded slowly with a sorrowful expression and said, "That's right. Our young master was always weak, with many illnesses. It's impossible to make people feel at ease. Right now, suddenly, there's no trace of the young master. It really makes everyone extremely worried. So, we have searched everywhere, but we couldn't find any trace of him. The three elders have also continuously gone missing without a trace. Afterward, every day, disciples are sent out to search for the missing. There's no other choice. We had no choice to set a barrier to guard this place. I dare not exceed to let them go out and search for a little bit." Looking up Jung Sat's group, the four of them tacitly understood each other. Jung Sat laughed loudly and said, "Garden cat, mouse." We not Hoa asked in confusion, "What is the cat and mouse game?" Ka said calmly, "Ha ha ha. This is a game. Cat doesn't hurry kill the mouse even though it's in its grasp, but leads it on in all kinds of ways to torment, enjoying the pleasure of it all. That person has already captured everyone in the town. I could easily capture the three elders. So why did you let your disciples hide here? I capture one or two every day. Considering the strength he showed before, capturing all of you wouldn't be difficult. This isn't about playing games with you. It's about making you anxious and living in fear every day. This is exactly the fun of when a cat chases a mouse." Fam probably sighed and continued, "Sigh. This kind of game, back when I used to play Go, I often enjoyed it. But now, on the contrary, I no longer feel excited about it." Duong sat clapped and said loudly, "Haha, heroes all have something in common. We used to play this game off. It's just that once you take on a side role, you don't have time anymore. And after a while, the excitement fades. To be honest, I remember that year when there was nothing to do. Let's go find some unpleasant people to play with a little. It's really fun." Denis didn't fall into my hands. She screamed and cursed. "You demonic cultivators are truly devoid of goodness. You can even toy with other people's lives. It's truly an extreme crime. Q Lang doesn't understand why you all sleep and talk so loudly." "That's right. It's probably because of the manager. What you all did was too cruel. Even old Lang finds it hard to accept." His eyes lit up. Denis glanced at Q Lang. Her expression seemed to say, "Hey, I really can't believe that in the demonic path there are still people who understand reasoning like this." But Q Lang immediately poured a bucket of cold water on her, saying, "Why don't you just chop them into pieces? Chop them up. Boil them. Wouldn't that be more effective?" Denis screamed in fury. "I knew it. There are no good people among you devil cultivators." Zhuo Fan teased, "Little fella, don't mind them. Even amongst us devil cultivators, there are cultured and refined individuals, and there are also crude and vulgar ones. Someone as uncouth as Kuei Lang prefers simple brute force. We are far more refined. They like to watch people suffer as if they're living a death-like existence. Insufferably cruel. Using that to seek their own pleasure, haha." When Track Fam laughs, the others immediately laugh along. Denis is teased a little and starts crying. She runs to So Kuyin Tan and says, "Kuyin Tan sis, look at these people. What kind of monsters are they? It's really infuriating." Lost. She couldn't help but chuckle softly. So Kuyin said reassuringly, "Ha ha ha. Didn't I tell you already? They don't have a single good person. If you think about it more clearly, it'll be easier." Then she glared fiercely at Track Fam, as if blaming him for allowing her to be toyed with like that. Track Fam flinched when the rooftop beam, probably scared out of his his wits. The young man scratched his head then turned away with a pitiful expression, saying, "What are you looking at me for? If I hadn't tried to recall some of the interesting things from back then, how can we know this person's work ethic? How can we help you find the whereabouts of that young master or someone else who's gone missing? Although there's also a possibility they might have already turned into corpses by now." Tai chuckled. So Kuyan-tan looked at the male lead, his eyes full of affection and sweet inquiry. So you already know now?" Track Fam smugly said. "Of course. First, this kid is very passionate about playing cat and mouse. And he's not the reckless type. He's careful and thoughtful. If not, when you argued with, he would have immediately taken revenge, and wouldn't have waited until night to slowly torture you. He took your young master, the sick one, away. Doesn't have any other intentions. He just wants to trap you here, so that you won't dare to leave reckless and slowly enjoy this twisted pleasure." Denise screamed again, not allowing anyone to slander our young master. "He is not illness." But Track Fam interrupted and said, "You're the ones who said he has many illnesses. It has nothing to do with me." So Kuyan-tan spoke up. "Track Quan Jia is truly a person of experience. Indeed, his experience is extremely seasoned." Track Fam said smugly, "That's right. As a senior would say, this kid only needs to take off his pants and I can immediately tell what he's after. The thing he's playing with right now, it's the kind of game we used to play. Isn't that right?" After saying that, Track Fam laughed and turned his head to look. Kui Sat hurriedly nodded and said proudly, "That's not wrong, but this kid's temperament is definitely immature. He is extremely playful, always following the wind and the current. He has never faced any hardship. This must have made him arrogant and proud, his confidence overflowing. Then he will go through the storm with us. He no longer has the childish temperament like before. So that's why we say, this is a game we used to play off, but now we don't bother with it anymore. Anyway, better to focus on cultivating a bit more and improve our strength a little." Track Fam nodded after hearing this and thought, if this kid's temperament hasn't matured, when working they will definitely make careless moves, revealing many vulnerabilities which could be used to defeat the opponent. As soon as Hong finished, everyone was completely shocked. Though reluctant to admit it, one must acknowledge that when facing the tricks of those top-tier sorcerers, it is still these old demons, seasoned through countless battles, who have the ability to adapt to any situation. Unlike us, after the incident, it's like the Emperor keeps feeling around, can't find any hair, like a headless fly running aimlessly. In the end, it's useless, being toyed with by the enemy in the palm of their hand. But for old devils like Yang Sat, there's nothing more to say. That young man, Track Fam, gives me a strange feeling. Compared to these old demons, he's even more scheming, like he's in the demonic path, but deeper than they are, in order to intimidate everyone. The result was that he actually achieved his goal, and that's why, when we arrived here, a little girl couldn't bear this sense of fear anymore. Seeing our group completely stiff, she thought I was using this method to capture everyone, and then she crazily ran out to assassinate me." Danny screamed loudly, "You're the crazy one." Track Fam laughed and said, "If you're not crazy, I have 3 masters with me who have reached void refining stage. Can't you see that? And yet you're bringing a sword to attack me. You don't know your own limits. Are those 2 eyes just decoration? That's stupid." The second place runner rushed back to Suo Xuancheng, crying and saying, "Xuancheng, he scolded me." Suo Xuancheng wiped his nose and said, "That's right, I'm also very curious why they ended up looking like this." Zayafam gave a sinister laugh, looking at the Xian Tian sect group, then said, "Just like you, disobeying me and being punished by me is also my pleasure. Hee hee."